Good evening, class. I chose the denomination of the American Lutherans. Recently, I've had the privilege to visit a local Lutheran church in my area. My background is mainly non-denominational or Baptist. The experience was fascinating as I had not been raised in a heavy liturgical or traditional church. This particular church had 3 separate services, each with the same message but different theme throughout the service. The first was predominantly what I would have thought traditional church would be. The pastor wore robes and was formal in speech. There was only organ music and many prayers led by the pastor that I had never heard before, but the congregation was used to the rhythm of the church. The second service was filled with younger families. The pastor was not wearing traditional robes, and the music was a mix of organ and contemporary. The message was the same, but the children's message on stage before the pastor spoke happened. The final service was completely contemporary with the music and the language used by the pastor to give the message. Following all the services, I was able to speak with the pastor about all the different aspects, and he said it was different than it used to be, but it works for us. This brings me to my search for American Lutheranism. According to the article titled Liturgical Traditionalism and the Spiritual Vitality, the Lutheran Church in America has had to make many changes over the last 30 plus years. In 1988, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America was comprised of 2% of the population and the second largest mainline group. But from 1988 to 2013, there has been a decline in the church. What had made this church popular for so long? The Lutherans came to America mostly from Prussia, what we call Germany. They mostly settled in New England, Pennsylvania, and some even in Georgia. They came to practice Lutheranism unobstructed. They found that they enjoyed the freedom of owning their own land and the rights to self-govern. These new settlers were focused on caring for those in need and emphasized hard work. Over the years, there was the idea to unify the different Lutheran traditions and conform in the changing climate of America. The Lutheran denomination has seen changes over the last 400 years. They have still kept with their traditions of confession and hierarchy leadership of the church. The article on the ELCA talks about the lack of openness in speaking about spiritual things, which gives those coming from a Lutheran background the illusion that they lack spiritual maturity. Currently, the collective churches are working on adding more lay leaders and participants, meeting outside of the structured building, and emphasizing prayer. Pastors are speaking openly about why the confessions and prayers are not just traditions, but they are significant to their faith. Through these changes, the hope is for the Lutheran Church to begin to regrow. In my recent experience, I believe the Lutheran Church is still holding to the values of helping the widows and the children and supporting community needs, which is vital to America.